Sometimes the Taysom slappies get slapped. I am so done with this guy. I am so happy that he's no longer in my life. He's no longer going to be a tight end on Underdog. He's going to be a quarterback next year. I'm putting it out in the universe. Things are going to change so I can stop playing this guy every damn weekend. It's my own fault. Oh man. But hey, I'm surprisingly happy and chipper for a dude who had his worst week of the season this week, because there's a lot of good things going on with Underdog. There is a lot of fun stuff happening this week for us on the platform, everything. And I think the place to start, gentlemen, I wasn't planning to start the show here, but I think the place to start is just, we've been head over heels with how they ask the people. We dubbed it the people, the platform, we dubbed it whatever. And first thing we get this morning is, hey, what should we do with the new structure, with the new contest? What should we do? And it's created this nice discourse and debate on Twitter between, should we have 1 out of 6 advancing in the new playoff contest, or should we have 2 out of 6 advancing? What should the structure of the new Mitten look like? What is best for the site? What is best for the players? And I got some thoughts. But if you guys want to go first, I've said so many words.
Yeah. First off, Taysom being a QB next year, was that baseless or is that real?
That's baseless.
Okay.
That's me so putting it out in the world.
John is just spewing lies. Okay, that's good to know. I like where we're headed today. Second off, I think for the Mitten 4 needs to be 2 out of 6, and I say that and I don't say that as somebody that prefers 2 out of 6. I say that as somebody who understands what the people like, and the people go nuts over 2 out of 6. They love it. So I think that has to stay. One thing that Rudman brought up that I actually think is a brilliant idea, I don't know if they're doing it for the next Mitten, is for teams that advanced to round 2. If you don't advance, you only win your money back. So that saves money for the teams that actually do advance to the more meaningful rounds, which I agree with. If you can save some like a consolation prize of like $7, aka $2 profit from these pods to have a more lucrative final, you do that every time. So I hope that that's something that they go with. I think that would be a really smart way to balance out the super friendly first round structure versus while still having a nice large final. I will say with the Gauntlet, they just released Gauntlet 2, and it's the same.
Everything just keeps popping. And everything just keeps popping up.
How big is it? Oh my God, it's the same size?
Same size, but first prize is not 100K this time, it's 200K. So
wow. Man, this is great. It's just incredible that
this week is going to
be
wow. Yeah. Get your go buy your extra monitors if you thought about it. Go get everything ready to go, because you're going to have about 10 contests to draft.
Exactly, right?
Insane.
We have the not to bury that, but we have the main slate wild card, and then I'm assuming we get a Saturday of some kind. I'm assuming we start getting these little things that they add in. So yeah,
layered on top. Yeah,
it's a great time to be on Underdog. Oh my goodness,
is it ever, right? Like, and that's why I was so excited this morning, because like there's some days where like, hey, what do we got going? It's like, oh, we could talk a little like main slate, but it's pretty early in the week, and we only got a 3-game NBA 2-gamer, or like a 3-gamer on a Tuesday. And it's just kind of like, how are we going to fake our way kind of for an hour through this? And like a day like today, it's just like, oh my God, where do we even start? Yeah, Nez, I think you put some really good context and whatever there. Admittedly, you're way more versed in the playoff stuff than I am. And I think my thought process was the 1 out of 6 is a more fun style contest to draft, just because like it gives you, I think there's more strategy in drafting a 1 out of 6, because you have to think more than just onslaughting 2 teams, hoping those 2 teams get to the Super Bowl and hoping I have the best build for the Super Bowl. I think for me, that's what the 2 out of 6 introduces. Now, from a company side and from like their perspective, I have no financial metrics to back this up, but I think if someone sees their team advancing and they see like a little green number beside their name, I think they're more apt to be like, hey, I'm getting some money back. I'm gonna deposit next week and I'm gonna re-jump in. I think it's counterintuitive than we think. I think people, if they lose in like round 1, they're apprehensive to deposit in round 2 to join the resurrection style contest or the BR stuff. But if they see that little green number and they're like, or they see that little gold ticket beside their name, like, oh yeah, I'm live. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna open another one. I'm good at this. I'm good. So I think from the company side, for the ecosystem, for giving people opportunity at the finals, I do think 2 out of 6 is best. From a player standpoint, for me, like from a strategy, from a draft strat standpoint, I think I prefer drafting the 1 out of 6 advance. But I don't know. I'm neither here nor there. Numi, do you have anything else to add to that?
I think Nez brought it up to me. I'm gonna probably butcher the long talks that we had like earlier on when I was going on, because I literally just said, all right, you're the winner. Like, just tell me how it was. And he keeps having to tell me it was the smallest return contest. I'm like, I don't care.
It was literally the smallest playoff tournament of 2022.
Which I think to
like,
think to your point, John, is another thing is, yeah, when they keep dropping these Mitten returns and all that, you'll have more money in the ecosystem. But my thoughts on what?
Look at him.
What?
I thought, okay, so I'm sitting here. I thought I just repeated something you just said.
No.
I'm making a clip, and I'm like, okay, did it just happen again? And I look over, and there's a freaking rock.
No, man, it's just the ring that you get for being the dude. Like, I'm sorry. Like, this is. I'm sorry. Like, it's just what
great.
I'd say when BR rings, but I haven't even won one of those this year. So
yeah, when do I get a ring for taking down a small MLB BR or something like that?
Yeah. Give me some MLB backdated rings.
Yeah, I know. We kind of went on a thing, but for my taste and for what Nez was talking me through, yes, I think everyone will, not a lot of the people, the majority will seem to like the 2 of the 6 to go forward. It introduces, especially in these finals when they have, I think one of them was like a larger final as well. It just introduces, like, you have to really get weird, and the 1 of 6 makes it so it's like, for me, it just seemed ideal for how I wanted to build, and the way I was building. Yes, the 2 of 6 help cater and get you those teams there, but ultimately, I mean, from what we talked about in baseball, my goal is to just get one team into that final that can yield a full roster. Right. You know what I mean? So that's why I think 2 of 6 would help, but 1 of 6 would make it so you would get that more unique roster that I would like up there. So yeah, I would think 1 of 6, but
I think we can agree on 3 things. Here. I think 2 of 6 is best for the ecosystem, for the platform, for enjoyment of all parties. I think 1 of 6 is most enjoyable for the sickos to draft, but hey, we're going to draft anyways, right? Like,
exactly.
So the 1 out of 6 is that. And then the other thing we can agree on is that we're going to be talking to shit more about this afternoon with Pete. We're going to be hopping on with Pete, and we're going to be doing playoff only stuff. So let's shelf the playoff stuff and just kind of jump in. We'll do a quick review of the weekend. Surprisingly, I feel very comfortable with how we played, with the players we highlighted, with the takes we had last week, and just nothing came to fruition. Like, Chase was one of my highest owned. Garrett Wilson was one of my highest owned. We were completely off Austin Eckler. We were all on Kenneth Walker. We were into that. The Geno stuff didn't go as planned. We loved the Russ doubles. We talked up the Russ doubles over and over. We wrote up the Russ doubles. And it just, I don't know. It's just like all the pieces were there, and then they just didn't perfectly come together. And somehow I got rugged. And I think it was largely because I went Taysom happy on Sunday morning. I think that was largely my biggest fault, and didn't have enough Kittle, and we even talked up the Vikings second half rest scenario. We talked about why we didn't like Dalvin Cook and why it'd be an Alexander Madison slate. We talked about Eli Mitchell coming in there. He did exactly that. And it was a great week for Team Scroll the F Down. And yet it didn't benefit any of us, which is interesting, but I'm very comfortable with our process.
Well, I
So
know
the-
why. I know why I personally just didn't have anything up there. It's simply because I didn't have a Keenan Allen share. I didn't have one
Yeah,
Keenan
neither did
Allen,
I.
not one.
I had zero.
So, and
I had
that's who
zero
you need.
Keenan
That's
Allen.
literally, if you go look at all the top rosters, he's the highest score up there. It's Keenan Allen.
Which I thought was for the record, I thought was a terrible play this week.
That's why I wanted to just harp on your thing. It was like, I'll go back and say, I'm totally fine fading Keenan Allen. I mean, Brandon Staley, what are you doing? What are you doing? I mean, we don't need to hop on that. Just, I don't think we foresaw, especially when they literally had nothing to play for, them coming back out into the third and then they played basically the whole third again. And then I don't know if they went into the fourth, but I mean, it was unbelievable. So that's
about half of the.
I think honestly, you can talk about your Taysom, but I think it's just simply Keenan Allen. Like he had the highest score on the slate. Did he not? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there it is, having 0% to the highest score. That'll do it for you. And
That's
I had plenty of Russ doubles. With Austin Eckler that fell to the fifth. That process I'm still fine with, seeing how much Austin Eckler and the starters were still out there. It just didn't go in Austin Eckler's way. So yeah, I laid back off the Vikings after listening more. I was on strictly Jefferson, thinking, Nez was talking about it in our chat that we thought even he could still get there with the volume.
In the first half, basically. Yeah.
So, especially when he came out with the Randy Moss fro and everything. So, it was just it'll literally come down to did you have Keenan Allen? No, I had 0%. All right, move on.
Yeah. Have you seen the fro acronym? I didn't know this story. Did you see this? That so he takes his braids out and then it comes out the back of the helmet and whatever. But there's a history with Minnesota Vikings players doing this that originates even prior to Randy Moss. And I didn't know any of this. There's a story. And then there's an acronym for afros. And it's like America's favorite outstanding receiver, favorite receiver, blah, blah, blah. Like there's like an acronym associated with it. And there's actually like a history of doing this. And I don't think Jefferson necessarily knew that he was doing it when he did it. But like now there's like a lineage of really good quality Minnesota Vikings receivers who have done this in the past. Yeah, I don't know.
I did not know that.
Yeah. The winning lineup, badged up player, fantasy dog pound. Seen him in the streets before. Don't know him or her, but a well-constructed lineup. I mean, Chase was the kind of the front end. We talked about the first round and how we kind of highlighted it was Chase, McCaffrey, and CMC were our top three, and those were the three to build around. Wait, what did I say? Chase, CMC, and
the same. Yeah,
I said McCaffrey twice, and Josh Allen. Those were kind of like our 1, 2, 3, and those were the ones we were building around. It turned out that Russ was the piece you needed. The Russ single with Jerry Jeudy. My Russ, I had more Sutton than Jeudy, which was unfortunate for me, but I had multiple doubles. Keenan Allen was the big separator. And if you knew they were going to play the starters, this is a very well-constructed lineup where, he just gets the run back off of the Russ single stack. Kittle's one of the best tight end plays on the slate in an environment where they thought they were going to be pushing. And then we talked about Nick Chubb throughout the week. I don't think the thesis was 5 receptions, but we talked about Nick Chubb just being in play because he was going to be in play and playing, right?
Yeah.
So well-constructed team.
One thing that I did on Sunday is I all of a sudden just had a thought. I went, wait a minute. Like the 49ers are going to be playing their starters. They have George Kittle, who has a connection with Brock Purdy that's been just inseparable. They're playing the pass funnel of the Cardinals. What are you doing right now? That was my thought. I'm like, so all of a sudden I'm sitting there. I'm like, okay, I just got to click George Kittle. And I did. I got up. He ended up being like my 4th highest after having almost none. And I'm just like, I look at that and I'm just like, I should have just thought about that more and just really thought about the scenarios in which these starters are playing. They're actually playing for something. The Cardinals defense is atrocious. We know the pass funnel narrative against tight ends. We know all that. Like, Ah, man,
Yeah.
that's the one thing. Like if I had to come back, and I haven't really come back at a BR week and been like, ooh, that's a little mad that I haven't done that. That's the one thing I should have just been like, I should have just bit the bullet on that a little bit more.
I think that's a really sharp point, Numi. And now that you articulate it in that fashion, I feel like an idiot that we didn't talk it up more or break it down more, because we know their pass funnel. We know the tight ends versus the Cardinals for years, ever since Kingsbury's been there. RIP Cliff Kingsbury fired this morning. Fake. See you later. Horizontal raid. Bye. But anyways, I think that was a very sharp point, and we know how volatile the landscape of tight end is, and we knew that, hey, there was potential that Hawkinson could rest in the second half. There was potential that Dallas Goedert could rest in the second half, and then you layer on top that CMC was questionable all week and limited in practice with an ankle. They probably weren't going to overextend him. We just thought he could get there because he's CMC. Then you factor in Elijah Mitchell's coming back. Then you factor in that Debo's coming back, but hey, we're probably going to be smart about Debo coming back, right? Like they weren't going to go full go right off the hop with a 1 week around the corner for the playoffs. And it just makes so much sense that George Kittle could have been that guy, and we should have been on it a little bit more, right?
Yeah, just a little more than I was. That's the one thing. I'm just sitting there as he gets his first toe tap. I'm just like, oh, there he is. That's nice. And then he gets the second one. I'm just like, and like it wasn't even like the like he got there on two kind of like, I think it was inside the 5 tight end or touchdown. So it wasn't like he like torched them and like went over the field. No, like he still had a couple like plays like that, but he didn't have these just long touchdowns. So like that thesis didn't hit, but they just can't cover tight ends. So
yeah.
Not a good team. Not a good team.
Yeah,
no, that's safe to say. That's safe to say.
Let's I want to hit on two things. Let's hit on Nez's lineup. He had the best lineup out of the bunch here this week. Sharp play with obviously Josh Allen. Diggs is one of the most coveted starts we were looking for all week. Kenneth Walker, Tyler Algier, and then you got on that Keenan Allen somehow there. You got on that Keenan Allen. And
that's what you know what? Sometimes, man, you just got to thank your auto draft gods. And this was one where I was so pumped I got Allen Diggs. I was distracted, probably making a drink or something on Friday night, and came back and saw I auto-drafted Keenan Allen, and I was so pissed. I couldn't believe myself. I was like I finally got Allen Diggs, and then I drafted Keenan, and I was like planning my swaps, and then obviously it turned out incredibly in my favor. But this was tough. We wrote that article, and a lot of that was written before, like it was on Friday. Like we tried to give our best guess as to what we thought was going to happen. And then things really cleared up on Sunday. And one of the things for me that really cleared up was Zach Moss. Like he just all of a sudden became this like insanely super smash play for me. Knowing that he wasn't being drafted, knowing that he's playing the Texans, who were trying to lose but didn't. Shout out Lovey, he's the GOAT for that. And ended up smashing. So I wish I had more of Zach Moss. That was kind of something that kind of came into clarity to me Sunday morning as I was finishing up my drafts. Just knowing the volume that he got last game, like it really seemed like that was a good spot for him. But I doubled up thanks to this lineup right here.
Yeah, there you go. Nice. You played. We were sharing our cash lineups because we were all playing Pete, and everyone knows that I play high volume cash the majority of weeks throughout the year. So I was really interested to see like what other people's cash lineups came out like. And yours was quite sharp because it was very similar. And then you went with Isaiah Likely, which was a clearly better play than Albert O with results now in. And Zach Moss, and you got to Zach Moss when everybody else was jumping on the Walker Algier plus some combination of Jonathan Williams or who's the name I'm missing? Najee. Yeah.
Wasn't
so
Najee
it was
okay.
Yeah. Najee was in. Yeah. So yeah, it was very nice to see the Moss call was good, because when we were talking about those games where like there was two extremes. What you wanted was either two teams that were going to go, like you wanted two teams that were going to be playing all out. We didn't think the Chargers fit that mold, but it ended up fitting that mold. But we thought we wanted two teams that were going all out, and that could happen in one of two ways. It could be two teams that both had something to play for, or two teams that had absolutely nothing to play for and then played each other hard. And that's exactly what we got in that Texans and Colts game. So maybe we should have chatted that one up a little bit more, even though, the names and stuff appeared gross to us on paper. But Zach Moss was phenomenally sharp play in that regard.
Yeah, that was funny. I got my $4 profit on Pete, so
Oh yeah,
I'll take the crown.
How you spending that money, huh?
Oh, yeah. I'm going right back to the cash streets for the wild card round. I'm feeling myself now. I'm like, let's
just keep doubling it up.
I love my median mindset. That's how I roll.
Yeah, LED pointing out that the DFS chalk transferring over to the UD streets, man. We've talked about this all year long, where it just keeps coming. Where it's just kind of like, if you have your feet in both pools and you're kind of bouncing that knowledge back and forth, it just makes so much sense so often, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know what? Before we jump to, I want to just jump. We were going to jump into hoops and stuff because we were saving the playoff best ball football stuff to do with Pete later, and I think we still save that. But now that they've dropped this week's BR, like, wow, we're here. Let's go zero prep. Just dive the F in. Let's talk.
We don't even need prep, baby.
Down.
Let's go.
Let's go for it. Let's go.
I'm fucking ready.
Let's do it. Right before we do that, check out this beautiful 0 for 7 bomb here from John Boy with Taysom Hill in like 5 of them and Christian McCaffrey in 5 of them. Old boy got exploitative this week and got slapped for it. When you play the IKB game and you don't actually IKB, it's phenomenal. But shout out Ketchup Stain. I just wanted to hit on that one. Won the bomb here with a beautifully well-constructed lineup with the Russ single, getting that Kenneth Walker was sharp, Garrett Wilson and Jamar Chase, 2 of our favorite plays this week. And then George Kittle was the guy you needed at tight end. So shout out Ketchup Stain. I know he follows us on Twitter. I don't know if he's hanging out in the chat or the Discord and stuff like that, but we've chatted on Twitter before, and I know he follows us on Twitter. So just wanted to do our due diligence there and say a little shout out and keep tagging us and stuff. Yeah, keep tagging us and stuff. So exactly. Keep tagging us and stuff on Twitter, in the Discord, whatever, because we want to keep sharing everybody's stuff. Okay, 3 more housekeeping things really quick. Pete later, I said that one. Shout out Underdog for the reason that this conversation is first and foremost today with the advancing thing and stuff like that is Rudman hanging out in our Discord, putting it out on Twitter, platform with the people, reaching out, have your voice heard. Your voice is not heard on these other platforms. Your voice matters here. So click the link below, hit that sub, hit that subscribe, be part of this conversation together. We're not here to tout plays. We're not here to do that kind of shit. We're here to play the games together and build the games together in a better progress, right? Yeah. Anyways, BR. Oh, Chad. This was the last one I wanted to hit. Chad is back doing his sheet in the Discord. So save those draft boards. Let's compile some data. Let's share the wildcard BR stuff amongst one another and put that stuff in the Discord. Good? Cool?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Love it.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, and I also put it in there if anyone has any trouble with finding it, or just go to the top right of your Discord page, click the little thread icon. I have a picture on there highlighted if you need to know. That's how you can join the specific thread to put your draft boards in there. So we already got a bunch of people in there already loading it up. So
love to see it.
GA
look at this,
here.
friends and family. We got GA, Tilted Bob. We got Andy. Let's go.
Love to see it.
Appreciate that, Robert. Appreciate that. You'd love to see it.
We talked about. Sorry, real quick. I just you go ahead. Go ahead.
That one you embarrassed to share? Yo, when's Nez Nuggets coming? That's the real question. The people are waiting for Nez Nuggets.
Thursday evening.
Thursday evening. Heard it here first. So for those who weren't watching the other night, the Nez Nuggets is Nez, despite having that big shiny ring on his finger, despite donning that underdog hat, despite having that $300 win this weekend, is a pathetic loser in his home league. and
Yep.
has to eat 50 chicken nuggets. And he hasn't told us where from yet, but he's going to draft teams while he eats 50 chicken nuggets on stream Thursday night. There we go.
Yes. It'll be a solo stream. I'll have my boys here helping produce, but yeah, you get to see me in my absolute lowest state. This league is my white whale. I would rather win this home league than win BBM4. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Don't you dare. You dare.
It means that much to me. I'm tired of losing in this it's been like eight years and I've not even close, man. Dude. That's the thing. Not even close.
JJ.
JJ? Yeah, JJ seems to be in a big smash spot here. I have not seen the lines and totals on that game yet.
I got
I think JJ at home.
47.5.
Let me guess. Let me guess. You guys are killing me here. You guys have you guys just like spreadsheet virgins don't know how to make content. They're just like, I got the answer. Come on here. Let me guess.
All right. They got the highest total with someone else. Who's got the other highest total with them?
I'm thinking of the games on the slate. Is there weather in Buffalo? Have we found out if there's weather in Buffalo?
I don't know. That impact
I
got nothing on weather, but that's not it.
I think the next highest total game should be Chargers Jags, but I don't think it currently is. Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
As he's looking up DraftKings Sportsbook odds.
No.
I think the highest.
Fun fact, I don't have access to that in Canada. Fun fact.
This is the only thing. This is the quickest way I can just get odds. So they didn't have them on Fantasy Labs.
Okay.
So yeah, this is where the draft gets interesting. Like it really does.
So we got Jefferson there. We could entertain. Saquon's already gone at the corner there. Tyreek seems like just like a name that stands out here. Like Tyreek just seems.
You guys are Tyreek.
So no, I took CD in my first one. I'm CD on this. But it's okay. Close, and part of the reason is one. Do we have any clarity? I know this is way too early. So okay. So it was two things.
We don't Skyler and
don't know the
Teddy.
Clarity. I think we can safe to say that Teddy and Tua are an upgrade from Skyler. And then also it being the only Monday night game, having some exposure to that sweet late equity.
The hammer.
But no, it's very close.
He's got like swap options. The reason the late night hammer is the late night hammer in DraftKings is because you could swap. That's why
you don't have to explain that to me. I'm talking about having the equity in that late game, having that lineup thrusting up instead of sitting there.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
I mean, Nez said it to me, which I don't think it actually has. I know Nez didn't. My buddy was here. My buddy was
way smarter than us
for Christmas Eve, and he goes, "I think you have to have someone in the late night games in order to actually win because like I don't see it." I'm like, well, that's not like actually true because like if that game duds, it just won't get it. But a lot of times you are sweating the teams just coming up the leaderboard in that last 9:40 game in Los Angeles.
Do you want to have anxiety or do you want to have hope? Like, take your pick.
Well, welcome. As a Viking fan, I have both. So more anxiety than hope. But
I think the big question marks on this slate, like just top of mind while I'm staring at it right now. Mike Evans' game got cut short, like as in shorter than the starters this week. I don't know how much that means. I'm Mark Andrews here. We could set up a Kirk double. I like Mark Andrews or I like Tony Pollard. And setting,
I like
up backdoor Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I liked Pollard specifically because when I was doing it, I took Andrews. I didn't reach on him, and that would be my thing. I would get my exposure to. I'm thinking like I'll get my exposure to Andrews without reaching on him, just because I think the tight ends on this slate aren't terrible. I mean, like you know what I mean when you look at George Kittle, Hawkinson, I mean, are terrible. Are like compared to the normal tight ends we get on like slates like this. Like obviously we're gonna have playoff teams. Kittle, Hawk, Andrews, Evan Ingram, Schultz, Knox, Hurst, even Everett, like.
Right. Yeah.
It gets thinner, but those are still guys that you're still okay to click on. And I know you go, is this Andy like the crypto Andy? Like,
yes. Yeah.
okay.
Like Club Top Shot.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. I see him in there. I've seen him in here more frequently. So there's your
Okay. So this is kind of what I was thinking here, where I wanted to set up backdoor Evans Brady, because I think the Evans
could do that.
discount right now is legit. And I already know I'm gonna have way too much Tom Brady on this slate. I already know.
Me too.
I mean,
I'm just
playoff
gonna-
Tom Brady. Come on now. That's when I'll flip my entire script and say he got to the playoffs. And okay, that defense though can really get out that stat. I mean, they're gonna have to the game plan around that. That defense could get after him and cause
yeah,
cause
statue
hell.
Brady.
Statue Brady. Oh
yeah.
goodness.
I mean, I think that's a really good counter just in terms of how that game's going to line up. I mean, we obviously, this is so preliminary. We haven't done any deep dive on this stuff yet, but like Brady broke the NFL completion record this year, his own record this year. Like, I don't think people realize how much pass volume there is just because the touchdowns haven't been there, just because Mike Evans had a down year, just because like the volume of that pass attack alone, like give me some Lenny Fournette with Mike Evans doubles with Tom Brady, where they're playing a little bit of catch up or they're just firing on all cylinders. I'm just going to be eating some playoff Tom Brady this week. I already know it's going to happen. I already just know it.
He's freely available in these. And let's be real for 1 second. It's Monday night prime time. Cowboys versus Tom Brady in the playoffs. Like, let's be real. Let's be real. We know what's gonna happen. We know it's gonna happen. It's not a Cowboys victory. It's just not. Like, let's just don't
Sorry,
overthink
Willis. Okay, so we could go ahead and take Brady here, though I don't think Andy will, because he does it. He's already got tight end locked up.
Bob will.
Bob will, because he's got Godwin. Yeah, good point. Okay, so we are gonna take Tom Brady
and yeah, the pass rush is certainly real. It's certainly real, but if you find a way to construct your offense to like get around that, which like
that's what
Brady's a veteran and his
average time to throw is 2.3 seconds.
Yeah, that's been their ML all year. The Cowboys secondary is completely masked by that pass rush, and if anybody can dissect it, I'm gonna bet on Tom.
One gamble by Trayvon Diggs and Mike Evans has that deep shot. Just one gamble.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, he's gonna get absolutely exposed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's going to be some good talking points on this slate, and I was trying to articulate them in real time there. I think the Tua health is going to be a big one, because we saw that game in the snow and like a couple weeks ago, and it still put up numbers. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to want to have some pieces regardless of what the weather is up there. I don't think it's going to be bad for what it's worth as of what I was looking at right now. But
that's
do
what
think
chat was saying as well.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I think Tua is a big talking point. I think Lamar is a big talking point. I think Lamar's injury has been significantly downplayed over the last couple weeks here, and resting Tyler Huntley last week as like a insurance policy to Lamar feels very like, ooh, I'm not, because if you knew Lamar's definitively coming back week 1, don't you just play Huntley last week?
So
no, I still think you want the backup.
Okay. All right.
So you take whoever here, but look at the quarterbacks that are just going undrafted right now. That's just fun.
Okay, let's do that in a sec here, Nibby. Let's actually pull up the ranks right after, take like a quick intermission, just look through it 1 sec, and then jump back in. I think it's just Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just, that's too good of player comparative.
Like Numi said, there's just so many good tight ends on this slate, though. Like Evan Ingram for me also, but like, I love me some Hayden Hurst.
Yeah.
Love me some Gerald Everett. And my little sleeper is it's Danny Bellinger, dude. Danny Bellinger is finding the end zone against the Vikings. And that's not to say the Vikings won't win, because they will. Skull.
Our Vikings.
But-
Cool, baby.
Yeah. But Danny Bellinger, man, that's no one's going to be clicking on him on this slate.
I like Danny Bellinger. I will agree with that. That's very
well,
very
you know what you're doing. That's the difference.
yeah. It's a very nice rung back. Our defense isn't going to change, so we're still going to do the same thing that we do in the regular season. And we watched it. We've already played the Giants. I don't know the score off the top of my head. But they played us close. They ate us apart. I like the Giants. I mean, I know everyone's talking in there like all that. Don't get me wrong. I'll have Giant stacks.
Mm-hmm.
Like as much as I would be confident and like to hope the Vikings are going to win, I know we're going to give up points and it's still going to be a Vikings game.
They won by
chat
3
was
on
throwing
Christmas Eve, I think.
Okay.
By the
against
way.
the Giants. Their previous meeting. Okay. I mean, chat was pointing out that like some naked Danny Dimes stuff makes sense and whatever.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this right now and I'm seeing names like Brandon Ayuk, KJ Osborne, Adam Thielen. I'm seeing names like that getting drafted before I'm seeing names like DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. I know they're going to be road dogs, 10 points, but guess what? Fantasy points don't give a fuck about that. You know, like who's to say Christian McCaffrey doesn't find the end zone 2 times, Kittle finds the end zone again, and then Geno's just playing catch up and slinging it all over the place against shell coverage, eating free yardage underneath. I don't know. Maybe that defense is way too good. Maybe that team is way too good. But just interesting names that jumped out to me as undrafted immediately. You can make some.
Sorry, go ahead.
No. Go.
I mean, I was just gonna say, looking at the quarterbacks there, and then the quarterbacks that were just available in that draft. I mean, you had Purdy, you had Lamar, you had Dak. I don't know if did Danny Dimes go in that one. I'm not sure. But I mean, you have just quarterbacks there that it just seems like it's going to be like a, you know what I mean? You're going to sit there. You're going to sit there.
Gabe Davis.
Yeah. You're going to sit there and you're going to be like,
I think that's who he drafted. I asked him who he drafted at 36.
Okay. I mean, you're going to see these quarterbacks back there, and it's just, I feel like you're going to see one of these back end quarterbacks just put up the score that you're going to need versus an Allen or Burrow. It just seems the gap that's so steep. You know what I mean? If you click quarterback, like 1, 4, all the way down to 25, and then it's like pick who you want.
Right. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong one here. Main slate. Hey, little secret of the pros here as I pull this up, Numi, is you could see right here Saturday
have a stat,
is already listed. Sunday only. Because the back end stuff takes shape before the front end stuff. So you can always anticipate what slates are coming by just, checking out what rankings are available.
I knew it was coming when I tweeted again this morning because I saw the update on the back end, and then it was right before the training camp, and I was just like, I'll just give him a little nudge, again. But
only the true sickos know.
But I mean, just look at that. It's you have 2, and then it just drops down all the way to pick your quarterback. Obviously, I think it's going to be thrusted up. People will start drafting their stacks and taking them a little earlier, which is perfectly fine. Get your stacks. But, I mean, that's a talking point in itself, I think. Like, obviously, they're going to be projected higher. Don't get me wrong. Would you rather have those 2? Yeah. But in terms of just the discrepancy in 20 picks between them,
right.
I think one of these, it's safe to say one of these guys, it's not safe to say, I would like to think that one of these guys is going to put up a score close enough, if not equal to Josh Allen Burrow. It's just like, which one?
I fully agree with you, Numi. And I think my first takeaway by just like looking at this slate in general and seeing the depth at the 2 onesies positions, I'm instantly like, I'm going to draft all my flexes and stuff like that unless I get a discounted Allen or discounted Burrow prior to drafting my quarterback tight end stuff.
Yeah, no, that I agree. That'll be a large, probably the way I'm looking at it. That'll be the way I tend to do my portfolio. Obviously, still have to sneak in Allen and Burrow. Cannot go without 0. That is foolish. But yeah, I agree. That seems to be the way I'm going to be attacking it too. Like Nez said, also with, again, he agreed how deep the tight end position was. And like, yeah, it's a very, once it gets to playoff time, these onesie positions become interesting, especially with how this draft board shakes out. So
It's
I
going to
like
be
it.
very interesting, just in general. If Tua is cleared and able to come back, I think people are probably a little scorned from the last time that we saw him, and like that performance that we saw. It wasn't great, but I wonder how that affects the spread of this game, which is at like 10.5 right now, and what it'll do to the Dolphins. And I think we will see maybe 2 points given given back to the Bills if Tua is cleared. And I don't think we will see enough push on the Dolphins in the BRs is my anticipation.
Yeah, I like that shout. I tend to agree there. I think
like
the
that.
push is going to be harder for Lamar than the push will be harder for Tua. Hard for Tua. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And we need to see we need at least a limited, if we don't get a limited practice by the first report, I am full blown panicking. It is the fucking playoffs. And if you are a DNP on the first practice, like I am officially pooping my pants because I have so much Lamar, Mark Andrews to help push my teams over the edge in the gauntlets. And that would really fucking suck.
The only caveat I'll say to the DNP stuff is the non-injury designation vet rest day stuff is the only playoff caveat, because still first week of the playoffs, sometimes they give them that first Tuesday or Wednesday. It'll be Tuesday this week. But that being said, when it comes to Lamar specifically, I'll be shitting my pants if there's a DNP anywhere.
Just going off of literally, it's just from the season stats. Looking what we got, I think Travis Etienne is a candidate to just be fully thrusted up these into the 10s. Going against that Chargers rush defense. What did he have? Like kind of a dud if you just click him. Didn't he have a little bit of a duddish game this last week? So he didn't technically put up. You're gonna have that recency bias on him. I'm not 100% sure. I just want to make sure I'm not crazy. A 4. So like you see that, people are gonna look at that and go, ooh, but I mean, that's someone that honestly I would draft ahead of Mixon. I would draft ahead of Saquon. I would draft and then
we're on the clock right here. We get a little bit of a Burrow fall. Diggs is staring us in the face. I do think Diggs Tyreek is going to be like a really popular fun start, just looking at how ADP is right now.
You could do Diggs Burrow.
Sure.
And that's how we just talked about how I know it's not that big of an ADP fall, but I mean, you look at, we get him at 7. We get him as a second rounder and we still get that alpha wideout.
There's a lot of easy back end stacks with Burrow as well.
Exactly.
So despite exactly everything that we just said about waiting on the onesie positions, Numi fell victim to the ADP game and made us take Joe Burrow.
We got to get it when it's available. You got the alpha wideout in Diggs. You get Burrow, and now you can.
I'm kidding. I know.
I'm not. We caught the falling knife there, dude.
Yeah, I agree. I tend to agree.
We did that ADP is gonna change, I think.
I think it's gonna be JA101, and then Burrow's gonna kind of fall to this like 8, 9, 10 range, and then that kind of middle pocket of quarterback is gonna be like a run in the 5th round over and over again, and it's gonna be like set your stacks now, you know.
And if we don't get Tua in this Dolphins game, I don't think it's gonna be a contest, and that would not make me want to take Josh Allen. I would.
Good point.
I think they would then like lean on the run a little bit more. Maybe a little Devin Singletary, James Cook. You know, I mean, who made it by people no smarter than us in the training camp contest?
Damn straight. A&T bringing up that he had a Burrow fall to the 3rd with a Justin Jefferson Saquon start. Burrow Higgins. That's pretty. That's a nice one so far. You get a little mini game stack with Jefferson Saquon. That's going to be a hard one to obtain if ADP holds where that is at right now.
And I'll still stand to my point about the onesies, but now on stream we also get to build out what this taking a quarterback at that early spot looks like.
For sure.
And then what it builds. So
no, it definitely has to be part of our profile. And Numi, we're just fucking busting your balls, dude.
It's okay.
We're just having a laugh.
We're still gonna draft. We're still gonna draft an equitable team. I promise.
Yeah, don't worry. It's just my fucking money. Who cares?
I hope we can
Oh.
get Higgins to fall, but if not, Hurst is like I love me some Hayden Hurst. So we've got options.
I think that's a
Yeah.
fun, easy stack. The one thing I'll be interested to think of right off the bat is how easy that is for everyone else that has a Burrow that doesn't get that.
Mhm.
So that's
It'll
just
be
one
a-
thing.
It'll
But-
still be a hard click, in my opinion. Clicking on Hayden
Yes.
Hurst is going to be a hard click this week, and it's going to be because of the depth of the tight end position. Because Evan Ingram's going to be sitting there every single time, or Dawson Knox is going to be sitting there,
Yeah.
and they're all going to make like better plays on paper, right?
Yeah. It'll be people are definitely going to be drawn to the Evan Ingram like late season surge. So Higgins.
What do you guys think about this? We could do a Waddle tandem with the Diggs thing. We could just full punt on running back right now, and we get the Higgins stack here.
Let's
we could also
wait. Let's wait on Waddle. Let's wait.
We could also do a Mark Andrews mini. Mark Andrews mini from that Cincy Baltimore side.
Since we have Higgins, I'm okay with that. And trying to get ahead of the Lamar bullish news, because I think that would vault Andrews up to like
Agreed.
That's true.
to the Kittle range.
Great.
I
Call.
will
We're
say
doing it.
Debo, like give me Debo over Jalen Waddle. Give me Godwin over Jalen Waddle. I that is something that I need good news on, because I don't think that he's going to be thrusted up necessarily as high as he should if Tua is healthy. And I think he's only going to fall from
How
from
about
here.
let me throw out another name. How about Jeff Wilson with a backfield to himself?
Is
Raheem
that
Mostert.
true?
Well, Raheem Mostert got hurt middle of that game this week. Potential, I don't know. We'll see how the week unfolds, but there's potential that he got hurt, never returned. Does Jeff Wilson get a backfield to himself? That's 22 touches in not a favorable matchup, but like in one of a good game environments, and we get that late,
I like it. I like it. It's a good, it's a good,
like
really good GPP play. Yeah, right. As far as like he's not going to be taken. The matchup isn't favorable, but like God forbid, Josh Allen has an unfortunate turnover. Maybe it's a pick six. Maybe Miami does something on special teams. If they somehow find a way if they somehow find themselves with a lead with the ball in their hands, then yeah, it's gonna be Jeff Wilson season. And we've seen Jeff Wilson be a good runner. I know he hasn't performed very, very well in the late season, but if he has the backfield to himself, then yeah, absolutely. That's definitely someone that I'm going to keep an eye on.
These contests are going to be really fun to draft. Like just in terms of like depth of talent and some of the storylines right now, these
Finally,
are going to be really good contests. You know what? I think this 6th game slate might have more talent than not last week's, obviously, but it was so big, but it had more talent available to it than some of the 10 gamers we had in like the middle of the season, just because of buys and island games, because they put the good teams on the island games
and good teams are playing each other. So like the stack options and the run back things are prettier. Like you're more advantageous to get instead of like a one-off guy from a team. You're like, oh, it's easy. He's a stack option. He's a run back. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I love these. This is my apps. This is just, I mean, it's Christmas all over again. I told Nez, this is how I literally got into BR. So
Waddle goes there. I don't think we have to do it necessarily any correlation or anything with these picks. But if there's just some names that jump
Did Elijah
out,
Mitchell go? Because he should be in.
We can do that. Okay, let's do it. Let's do a mini stack from the Seattle San Fran game that paints the narrative of San Fran gets up early. Elijah Mitchell gets a little more work, gets a little more involved than we're accustomed to, and we need a little DK Metcalf run back to put up some points.
Yeah, I like it.
Numi, is there something else you prefer?
No, go for it.
Okay. Mike Williams' Q tag is interesting because the swap options are plentiful by my current estimation right now. but that did look scary. Like he was legit carted off. He was on the cart in the hallway. It looked bad, but
It did.
it's a fun 6th round name with some ceiling, but does he offer a bigger ceiling than a healthy Gabe Davis?
That's a good question. But I will say, and you brought this up as well, it is a lower back injury, and that's nothing. A couple muscle relaxers, a shot to the back can't he's fine, dude. He's going to play.
All right.
I've been there.
Okay.
I pulled my back out doing some T-bar rows before. One muscle relaxer. Don't screw the PT. I'm good.
This guy comparing a couple T-bar rows to getting an absolute shot from a 290-pound grown-ass man in the lower back. Same thing.
Don't worry, Big Mike. I've done it. I've done the same thing as you.
If you would have
I
seen
did
me
a couple
walking,
bent over 130-pound T-bar rows. Yeah, man. Like I felt it. I felt that tinge in my lower back.
How do you know
he'll be good to go.
How do you know I'm rowing 3 plates? How do you know that?
Oh, that's God. So good. Okay, let's do one more. This show we were gonna try and play all the hits. We were gonna jump all over the place. We were gonna do NBA. We were gonna do whatever. I'll take a couple if people want to put in the chat if they want to see NBA or not. We did do a little prep on NBA. We do have some thoughts. Nothing. I mean, my thoughts can only go so far. But we can do a little NBA here after this. We're going to do plenty of this contest over the next couple days. We're going to shelf MLB today. There was some thought that maybe we would mix in one at the end there. But we're going to have plenty of time to do MLB. I've actually reached out to some industry personalities and guests for MLB. And dare I say, gentlemen, irons in the fire.
Oh, they're hot.
Never heard of it.
Hot.
But we got Underdog's head of MLB info, I believe, is Tuma's official designation there. So Brendan Tuma is going to join us tomorrow for MLB right off the hop. We're going to do about 30, 40 minutes of MLB talk about the scarcity at outfield, do something like that. So we'll shelf MLB. We'll do a little bit of MLB tomorrow, and we'll stick running some football, and maybe we'll sneak in a hoops or two and talk about it on the fly. We get that Eckler. Kind of Austin Eckler. Let's do it. All right, we'll switch it up. Let's do it. We kind of get that decision again here. For my money, just through the first couple drafts here, wide receiver looks deeper than running back. Can we agree on that?
Absolutely. Sorry, I think
get this guy the clown emoji.
Right? You still have it?
Good shit, Newbie.
That's fine.
I do think I think Christian McCaffrey probably stands out as the best play on the slate. I think Justin Jefferson is the second best. I do think, positionally speaking, from a scarcity standpoint, that running back looks quote unquote thinner than wide receiver at this point, and the onesie positions look strong. So I'm kind of thinking this week is going to be a lot of 1-1-3-1s with anchor running back in the first round. That's my initial takeaway. Nez, what do you think, man?
Yeah. I'm seeing similar things just based on these first few drafts. There are nice names to click. Like, these are playoff teams. We have good teams in really good spots. It's just for Austin Eckler's role with potentially a hindered Mike Williams against the Jacksonville defense that, it should be a good game. Austin Eckler is going to be heavily involved.
I like it.
He just is one of the safer picks for me on this slate.
We can stack up that game and maybe grab a little Travis Etienne, or we could wait, kind of go pass catching on the other side of that game, go like a Kirk Lawrence thing, and then take like a CD here, go like mini. We could go Tyreek because he's Tyreek. What do you think?
Lamb or Tyreek?
Okay, let's do Lamb because we did Tyreek the previous time. We're already seeing it. We saw it in the chat. We heard it already that this Burrow fall is real right now. Like we're gonna get some third round. I think his ADP is artificially propped up right now.
Yeah, and I think that came from the training camps.
Yeah. Okay. We could do something like a little Godwin mini here, and then hope we get either Evans, Kirk, and Lawrence to come back to us.
I like Chris Godwin here.
Okay.
I'm open to other ideas, but that's my pick.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a little Dak FUD this week after, they play that game against Washington that was putrid. He played terribly for 100 and whatever yards, only had the one score, threw a pick six. It looked bad. It looked bad. I think Dak is going to continue to be free this week, and I don't think we should be as scared of him as the market is going to think they are, right?
Yeah, depending on how far he falls, like him being below Trevor Lawrence, I don't think is right. Like I said, I don't think the Cowboys, if you're going to ask me straight up who I think will win the game, I do think the Bucs will win. But like the Cowboys are going to probably have to throw the ball a lot if like I think they're going to be in a position where they could likely be losing. And Dak on volume can put up some really good numbers. Like let's be real, like Dak has underperformed in big spots a lot, but like he can absolutely get there. And being below some of the QBs that I'm seeing him be below right now, I don't think is correct by the field.
100%.
Okay.
That's what I'll say. Like it for totally get the context, like you said, totally get what Dak has done. When it comes to literally just chess pieces, that's what I'm trying. Like he has a ceiling that we've seen and know that he can put up 4 touchdowns, one of them on the ground, 2 of them on the ground. So that's just I mean,
okay.
I totally agree. Yeah, I like.
We could go Tony Pollard
and just do a
Evan Ingram, and then just hope Lawrence falls. And if he doesn't fall, then we take Dak.
Sure.
I think.
Oh, you just take Dak with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, either or.
Yeah, 100%. I like that. I like that a lot.
Let's do Tony Pollard. Currently, Zeke's free right now as well.
That's what I was gonna point out. But so we saw what Zeke did when. Well, obviously he had like a carry or something like that, like 2 carry. I don't know. It did. Maybe I'm crazy, but but like basically, if he hasn't had those touchdowns, what is Zeke putting up? You know what I mean? In those games, like if he isn't being Jamal Williams and falling into the end zone, and Jamal Williams is a better runner than Zeke at this point, like what is he doing? So I totally get like he's free, but you're literally depending on him just falling into that end zone and getting those sweet 6 points. Otherwise, like you're at risk of just a nice 4 spot from Zeke. Like that's really the range of outcomes. Whereas Pollard, like we know 1 touch, boom, gone. We know what Pollard like gives you, and granted, you're paying for that, but
no, it's a good point. Can we talk about one thing? You brought up Jamal Williams' name there. From the standpoint of like records and all this stuff with an extra game and this that, it looks pathetic to me. No offense to Jamal Williams. I know he's a veteran player. He's been a long time. But him breaking Barry Sanders touchdowns in a season for the Lions record in his first year with the Lions, where he fell into the end zone and he wasn't a difference maker and it just feels so bad. Like the franchise did not want that, like
I've seen. So here's my take on these records. I've seen a lot of people with the whole asterisk stuff. You have to go asterisk everything then. Asterisk every record in every season, because every single sports and major sports has evolved in adding more games. And that's where we're at. They've evolved in the way sports have been played. So it's just truly incredible. Like Babe Ruth, like was there a guy throwing a 92 mile an hour slider, then throwing a 97 mile an hour split at him? No, there wasn't.
Of course.
They're throwing meatballs. So like there has to be an asterisk to everything if we're really going to go, oh, now it's an 18 game or 18 weeks, blah, blah, blah. It's just like,
I think there's a difference in evolution of sport and evolution in number of games played. So the Babe Ruth comparison, I don't really agree with, but the comparison of a record should still hold because they added more games does make sense to me. But what I find funny about this, Numi, is this is a preemptive, like, mental debate you've had with yourself already that you were preparing. If Justin Jefferson had broke the record, this was your debate ready.
Oh, no, I've already seen it. I've already seen it online. It's just, but like, he didn't break it. Doesn't matter. But if he did, the people that would go out there,
if he did,
like, I've seen people on like DFS go, oh, you got to put an asterisk on that. I'm just like, so if this was like a Philly guy who the guy was a Philly fan, like, and he did it, like, would you be saying the same thing? If you did, the cool. Like, but it's like, I don't agree with that. I think the evolution that they've added more games, literally, like, at one point the NFL was a 10-game season. Like,
yeah, no, for sure. I agree.
Of course they're going to be broken.
This is very interesting. So we set up the back door for Dak, and then we were going to take Dak, and now we get the Lawrence fall. I kind of just want to take the Lawrence with Ingram. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm Dak with this build.
Okay. We'll stick to the plan, because it's interesting, because we could run out the narrative that, like, hey, Ingram just is the way that they contend with Eckler. And then Tony Pollard scores the touchdowns. You only need the 15 points from Lamb, but it doesn't involve a touchdown. You know, it's 8 catches and 109 yards or whatever it is. And that's all you need from them. And the score you actually need is spread around from Trevor Lawrence, not from Dak, because Pollard's the one scoring the touchdowns. So I think you could paint the narrative both ways with that build.
I think we just drafted the winner.
Wow. Fucking right. Let's go, man.
so we can be done.
I'm telling you,
like,
that team was
my
sick.
lineup is set.
I love these, man, because, like, so
that team was sick.
I tried to do what you've done on stream, John, and you're like, all right, let's look at this lineup and see basically where you need to draft them, and like, oh yeah, we kind of do it. I tried to do that yesterday and the night before, over and over. Before I would start 3 drafts at once, and all of a sudden I would get just pigeonholed to the same stuff. And I took a step back. I did some deep breaths. I was like, think of this slate and what ways that's just like, oh, that was super easy, but you're just not getting to. I came to the Russ double, didn't come to the Keenan Allen, but I started taking these guys in certain places. And it's like, on this slate, just take a step back and be like, looking at ADP, it's going to change probably drastically. Like you said, like, I do agree. The Burrow's going to probably fall down to that range. It's going to even out more. You're not going to have that gap between 7 and 10, but just what realistically can happen. And we start to get more info, and we start to get, the people talking up on it, and you read all that. Like, you can have all that info, but like, just the game we're playing, just break it down to like these like, it all comes down to your draft spot and all that. Just what can you do in your draft spot to draft a lineup that looks like it like could be. That's what I just try and do each time. Because you're the way you've broken it down before on streams. It's a good visual for me, and I think everyone like, oh, this was easily obtainable. Like, we weren't thinking that because like our brains just get stuck on, oh, we got to do this over and over again. And it can't be that. And like, once we do one of those lineups that end up being the end up winner, it's like, oh, that's gross. I can only have one of those in my portfolio. Now I got to do something a little different. Like, yeah, I don't know. There's a long tangent, but it's like, what on this wild card slate is looking at this, that it's just like, okay, instead of drafting these guys early and then bypassing that, like you like to say, like, I agree. Like, if we bypassed and took someone in the mid rounds in the first and second, and like at this turn, you're going to look at that. Like, we're giving someone that, but like, you're also saying that they're simply just putting up a score that's higher than these other people, and you need them.
Right.
Like that's what you're doing. And I know it's that simple, but like, I try and take out of, oh, I'm giving the person this team and I'm giving them this. It's just like, okay, I can give them that, but I'm saying this lineup specifically is going to be the people that end up scoring the most points. And I know that's just, that's obvious, but like, I just don't feel like I do that enough when I draft, and maybe we don't do that enough when we draft.
Yeah, I think it needs to be said, because like, so frequently I think we just get our minds wrapped around like, okay, click around these ADP values, don't scroll far enough down. And we don't think about the slate in its entirety and in its context. We don't think about like that sort of thing. What do you guys say we do? We do Chase here,
yes,
and then see if the Burrow falls, or see if we build a different team. We haven't started with Chase yet.
Yeah.
And I want to hit on a couple of things. Yeah, go for it.
I was just saying, like, I just said all that, and like, scrolling down, like, obviously you start doing that once you get more drafts in and you pick up trends. So it's like, you don't just immediately do it and just start building willy-nilly, I wouldn't say, but like, You kind of draft at ADP for a few, see how that goes, and just kind of take a step back, think of like how these are going, how you can build out certain things. And obviously they're not always going to work because you're drafting against 5 other people. But yeah, it's just
No, I agree.
I would stack Burrow and Chase.
Yeah, I think
unless you want to wait to see now.
I think there's merit to waiting and hoping that nobody else goes Burrow, Diggs, and hoping he falls to the third. But I do think we should just do it here, get it done, have one of these in the bank, and build around that and see what it looks like, because we haven't done this yet.
Yeah.
Couple things in the chat that they're bringing up here, like OJ 2K rushing yards in 14 games. That's crazy. Like, I didn't know, and I've never heard this name before. Charlie Hannigan. Yeah.
What are these? 1961. Let's look at the skill gap of the evolution of talent.
No. Put your spreadsheet shit away, buddy.
We're not talking
leather helmets. We're talking leather helmets. We're talking no shoulder pads.
We're talking people that aren't as good as the people that they are now.
Numi.
You're missing.
Hold on. That's like the NBA take. That's like the NBA take saying, "Oh, you put someone in this jet."
Numi.
Wilt would have scored 100 versus LeBron every night.
Hold on. Both of you motherfuckers. They were not throwing the ball back then, man. Charlie Hannigan was a bad man. A bad man. Doing what he was doing at that era is insane, dude.
Yeah.
You got to look at this guy.
Oh my
I had
I want to see these. I want to see these sick highlights of these of all of this. You know what I mean? Probably a quick slant, and these defenders just flat-footed, not knowing what to do, just gone up the field, untouched, over and over.
What I'm saying is that
we're really comparing this. Oh my god!
Eat your heart out. Hey, eat your heart out, DK Metcalf. This is what a fucking wide receiver looks like. All right. This is what a wide receiver looks like. Look at this grown-ass man. That's great. Are you kidding me? This guy was hacking darts at, like, he gets a first down and he smoked one up. You know? Like,
dude, I'm saying no one else in that era was doing what he was doing. Like, it's not like people were catching for 1,600 yards back then. Like, he is that guy.
No, I get that. It's just, I think we also have to acknowledge and put in the fact that this literally what's out on the field back then. Like, it's 70 years ago, 50. What are we even? I can't even do the math right now. I'm so flustered. Like, come on.
This is the easiest take of all time. Like, yeah, man, that guy obviously sucked compared to, like.
I'm not even comparing it to that. I'm comparing the defenders on the field. I'm talking about the game itself. And the talent,
we know,
We know the argument.
This equates from NBA because there's people out there that try and like bring up all this stuff. It's like the NBA defense right now. Like, you may think it's like but like the legitimate defense, the dudes playing just from 20 years ago, it's not. Back then, you can punch someone in the head, and then just literally pick them back up, and you're good to go. Like,
what do you guys think about Chris Godwin here? It seems like we keep hitting on this Dallas Tampa game, but.
Chris Godwin with the quietest 100 reception year ever.
Right? I mean, and remember all the FUD around him come preseason where it was like, he's coming off the ACL. He was a 6th round pick. He was a 5th round pick. He like slowly crept up as he was like putting in work. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, he might play week 1. And then he ended up sitting week 1 or playing week 1 and then sitting week 2 and then coming back, something like that. He missed 1 or 2 games at the Hop. I can't remember the combination in which they did, but like, it's crazy just to see, like, man, the ACL nowadays, like how crazy the recovery is, how crazy the sports medicine industry is. Like, man, it's like 9 months. Hey, you're back on a football field. Like, it's crazy.
Dude, you can't even find Hennigan highlights on YouTube. There are none. There's a 1962 Oilers highlight, but not just like Hennigan himself.
This guy is fucking elite, man. This guy is elite.
He's a myth.
Look at this. Look at this comparison just for Newbie. Look at this comparison just for Newbie. Him and Adam Thielen side by side.
Who
Oh
you got?
my
Who you got?
God. Who you got, man? Honestly, in this era, if I could port Charlie Hennigan to that Vikings team and he could run alongside Justin Jefferson with all that free space, I think he puts up 2K and 10 at least. like Justin Jefferson is running clearing routes, opening up the middle of the field for Charlie Hennigan, and Charlie Hennigan absolutely smashes this year. He scores way more touchdowns than Adam Thielen.
Dude, these highlights are just phenomenal.
We could do something fun with like a little back stack in the. It does seem like this Seattle and San Fran game is readily available late. We could double stack Burrow with Boyd. We could go Waddle. We could go
Charlie
Mike Evans.
available.
I like Elijah Mitchell, man. If we can get him, he's he's scoring a touchdown in that game. I promise.
Yeah, I think we're not maybe giving with that pick. I'm not sure we're giving this slate enough credit for like how big it is. I think Eli Mitchell would be a really nice pick on the 2-game slate or like the Sunday only plus Monday if they do something like that. But I think the context of this entire slate, I think I like Leonard Fournette ceiling more. I don't know. I think he's a good runner. I think he looked good yesterday. I don't know. Should we go mini correlation with Lockett in that game environment? Should we go one-off Gabe Davis as the piece you need from somewhere else?
Not Lockett.
We could go Mike Evans double and do it without Brady. That could be really
I think that's viable because the touchdowns haven't been there.
Simple way to get unique.
And here's the thing. I don't think we need to I don't think you need to bring back on the Seahawks side with Mitchell, because I think the thesis is if Mitchell is smashing, it's because it's not a game. It's not a good game.
Good take.
You bring back for CMC. And the same thing goes with if you take Zeke, you don't bring back on the Tampa Bay side, in my opinion, because that is just Zeke. Like it's short possessions for Tampa Bay. Dallas has a lead, or like it's not much of a game, and somehow Dallas dominates the Buccaneers. Not impossible. That I don't think you want to correlate in those two spots necessarily.
Oh no. Oh, there we go. Oh no, I lost the draft board. Fuck, my bad.
Is it on your phone?
Damn it. Yeah, it's okay. I just wanted to bring it up just for 1 second. It's just a nice way to close the door and tie a bow on the Battle Royale talk. Okay, let's yeah, I agree with everything you just said, Ness. I think that was a really sharp point there.
Seven seeds have only covered once. They've only covered once, let alone
good little nugget. Speaking of Nez Nuggets.
They're bad. These 7-seed teams are really, 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 really bad. They'd have no business being in the playoffs.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I like that shout. Yeah, I like that shout. We're going to do more football stuff with Pete coming up. We could wrap right here, but I feel like we did a little bit of NBA prep and we can rapid fire dive into an NBA slate just with drafting, and we could just chat it through on the fly a little bit. Maybe just do one or two and jump out of here. And you know, I'm already dressed for the occasion. I got my Jack Settleman headband on. I got my blue background. I'm ready for hoops. I was not planning for those lineups we just drafted in the lineups we just drafted in football are all dead because I was not dressed for the occasion. It was pathetic. That's on me. Those lineups are dead now, gentlemen. I'm sorry.
How do you dress for BRs? What's the get up for BRs?
I always correlate my colored backdrop with the stack in which I'm trying to obtain. It's rule 101. You know, and I got to wear my goat horns because I've shipped in that capacity. I can't wear my goat horns in NBA because the best I've finished this year is second twice. But come on, I can't wear my goat horns out in the NBA streets.
That's one thing that I was going to say. We need, if you win a BR in baseball, we need baseball hats on our dogs. Like,
My God, I'd have 50 of them.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You stack them on the head. You should be able to stack them
stack
on
my
your
head.
head as you win more and more.
Yeah, like
I look like
stacking
Brian
pucks, like at an
Robinson.
arena.
Yeah.
I look like Brian Robinson stacking them up. Numi, NBA friends and family so far draft NBA slate. Notable that LeBron James has the probable tag, which is a clear distinction from when he has
Over
the Q
Tatum?
tag. We've talked about this. Yeah,
I would do
LeBron
LeBron.
here?
I would do LeBron here. Yeah, over Tatum. Highest
Okay.
total game. And then for what it's worth, Roto Grinders and other sites injury reports don't even have him like listed as a questionable or even as like I don't even see him on the report. So
Okay, cool.
they just have him as probable for what it's worth.
There's two back-to-back scenarios. There is Memphis on a back-to-back, but Ja did not play last night. So and then he's got the Q tag for tonight. So I don't know what he missed yesterday with, but he's a legit Q as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. And then there is Orlando, who is playing tonight but plays tomorrow as well. And they're the only team with a front end of a back-to-back. So Memphis on the one side and Jaren what am I trying to say?
Jackson
JJJ,
Jr., baby.
Yeah, Jaren Jackson fouled out last night. But he will be a fringe first rounder here if we get Ja news, right? And
I would take DeMar here.
DeMar?
Yeah.
Sure. I like it.
I mean, yeah, you could take Kristaps. They have him technically ranked higher. One site that I have just ranked higher. I don't have another one, but in that spot, I like to take, I mean, the ADP at least a couple times. Otherwise, if you take the ranking guy over and over, you're just going to end up with 100% of them. And one thing I like to always do is just check how different they are. And it's literally a 1.2 gap between the points. So it's not that big. Yeah. Rorschach, good player.
Yeah, he wasn't going to let Porzingis fall to us there. We could put Levine with DeMar. We could put Russ with LeBron. We could go the Jalen Brunson route. We could go Paulo. What do you like?
Brunson's the guy that's propping. Yeah, Brunson's the guy that seems to be.
The Bucks are a little bit in disarray. They kind of need to get their shit together.
Yeah, it is a drastic difference from the highest total game in a 20-point swing from 241 to 221. At least that's what I checked right before stream. Could have changed. So for what it's worth, that's when I won't take or won't have that many guys from that game. So yeah, I think it's 221.5 it moved up to, but yeah, so like LA and Denver is when I won't mind having 3 players from that. And since it's a 6-game slate, I mean, if it ends up being 4, maybe, but I would try and cap it at 3 and I wouldn't mind it.
Who are we thinking from? So from LA, it's obviously like Russ and LeBron, and then from Denver, are you going Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray? What are you seeing there?
Yeah, so let me. So Aaron Gordon comes out as 26. Jamal Murray comes out in 22 in ceiling. Thomas Bryant's 32 in ceiling. So we have 6 players alone in the top 32 in LeBron
from
James,
that game.
In Jokic, LeBron James, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, Russell Westbrook, Thomas Bryant are all have a ceiling in the top 32.
Thomas Bryant for me is kind of like what we've said about DeMar DeRozan is in the models and stuff. When you're setting your rankings and you're looking at projections and stuff like that, he's never going to be like popping. His ADP is always going to be higher than what his projection is. So if you want him, you're going to have to spend on him. It just seems to always be the case with him.
I would rather take Jamal here as the run back. So that's what I was going to say. For his ADP, he's one of the big discrepancies as I overpay. For me, again, now does that mean anything? No, because he could end up putting up points. But he, for what it's worth in dailies, he has been a late end pick. And now because of the slate, he has drastically moved up and they're projecting him for what he kind of is around. But it's kind of like a real big over projection, I would say at 21. I have him as the 32. So
The legend of Charlie Hennigan is growing as
we're gonna get like in the freaking. So let's see here.
Trey Jones is a fun name for me. What else do you like here? Do you like Portis at all? No, Chris Middleton. Portis always kind of. I mean, you get a little correlation with the.
I kind of like Aaron
there
Gordon.
Aaron Gordon.
Okay. Yeah, you don't mind having 2 from that Denver side in such a high total game, so that's all good.
No, and I think Chad will take the guy that I would want here. I'm not going to say him. He has the biggest discrepancy on the slate. He's probably
between projection and ADP right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you save that little nugget for when it rolls around. T-Bear in the chat there, Terrence is pointing out that he's liking some Bane and Tyus. I like those shouts for sure. Nick's a good NBA player as well, saying he likes him in the last round as well.
Yeah. Let's see. So they're saying Tyus. So I think
the Tyus bet is a bet against Ja.
Because Tyus is a 76 rated ceiling player in projections.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you're projecting Ja in,
I would be drafting Ja and then just getting. Hopefully, people aren't drafting Tyus, and then getting Tyus as your swap.
Yeah, I kind of like getting ahead of it here a little bit. You know,
I do, but you mentioned it. I'll have to get a read on the situation. I don't have that great of one on Ja.
Okay. Well, I'll pull up what Roto Grinders is saying, just in their injury report thingy here.
Yeah, because I mean, if he didn't play the front end to a back-to-back, and granted, it's the Spurs. Yeah, so I mean, they could easily just rest him out against the Spurs. But yeah, it's really I'd say especially with Ja's value.
The conversation's off the table because Chad, being the quality player that he is, went ahead.
Maybe I'm crazy. Is Keldon Johnson there, or am I dumb? He go way earlier.
Oh, Keldon Johnson's there. Keldon Johnson has a Q tag.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. He has
Keldon hamstring, according to Roto Grinders, with a 9
ceiling
impact.
of 24 though. Getting them as the last pick. This is when you can get a swap pretty easily.
Just in terms of general macro level strat, just taking a Q tag in the 6th round is considerably more enjoyable and easier to stomach because you're going to flip 2 spots at ADP when you get somebody else in.
And Jakob Poeltl was still there along with Trey Jones at the moment. They might have both just went, but they were both still there on the Spurs, which directly correlates to if Johnson's out, then their swap that boosts them up, and then you get their swap if you have them in your swap. So, it's just one thing to play there. Same thing with Jeremy Sochan and all that. Yeah, he's a
Chad.
Q.
Chad, let us know if you have a better read on the situation than just what the site said there. I know that he played the other night, and then it was Friday night he played, but he only played 8 or 9 minutes and then was pulled from that game, and then he was done.
Yeah, and this is the case too. Exactly. And that totally is the case. It's there's so many moving parts, really. Because even with or without Ja, they can get smacked. It's not like Ja's that big of an impact,
right?
Surprisingly, because their record without Ja is outstanding. They have the pieces to make up for it. So that's really interesting there. It's a lot of moving parts, just like NBA is. And I like to, my motto that I like to say is you kind of just gotta draft draft for the dominoes. And basically when you're drafting, pick which way they're gonna fall, and you can, like you said, so they're getting ahead of Tyus. I mean, that's not a bad thing to do. You're getting ahead of it before all of a sudden Tyus, Brooks get moved up to auto drafted all the time, and you don't have this easy 6th round pick.
I think there's some merit in the same thought process as the Tyus, or the same thought process as pushing up Desmond Bane into the 3rd round. I think there's some merit in a 6th round Dylan Brooks. I mean, Dylan Brooks is the bane of my existence in hoops this year. I mean, him and Jalen Brunson. him, Jalen Brunson, and Jalen Green. Just guys that can fill it up, but if they don't show out, there's nothing else for them to. Oh man!
Whoa! Almost got Giannis at the 4, so LeBron probably.
Yeah, I mean, we took LeBron.
I mean,
at the 3,
we could
so
do. You
LeBron
could tell
again.
me. You could talk me into Sabonis. You could. Oh, we took LeBron.
I've been talking myself into Sabonis over and over and over again.
I mean,
all year
Orlando
long.
team, I'll need to check who they got going. I think they just for a big man. I think they just have Wendell, right? Is Bol still out? Yeah, Bol still out. Chuma Kiki's out. Jonathan Isaac out. So, yeah, that's interesting there.
Jonathan Isaac was a dude that when I saw him at Summer League, I was like, this guy's gonna set.
He hasn't played since the bubble.
Yeah, I was like, this guy's gonna set the league on fire. I'm like, this guy is different. This guy is good. And then, I don't know.
He's supposed to be the one.
Did someone? Yeah, I thought I saw someone saying they drafted Jonathan Isaac and I like
De'Aaron Fox
on a few of their NBA basketball teams, and I'm just like, why?
I have him.
Oh,
maybe it was you.
It was you. I was like, why? Guys, what do you like here?
Fox.
Fox?
Oh, actually, okay. So I still like Fox, regardless of projection. I'm not gonna lie, like I do.
Yep, sure. I'm good with it. I like Jaren Jackson, like just in general as a player. I mean, is there anyone more likely in the NBA to foul out than LaMelo Ball and Jaren Jackson? Like, honestly,
Mitchell Robinson is definitely up there.
Yeah, Draymond Green. Like,
well, he's most likely just to get ejected.
Yeah, double text.
Yeah, just double tech out of there, get out.
Yeah.
Punch a teammate type deal.
Yeah. Hey, I saw someone mention Leone in the chat. I'm wearing my ETR shirt as we speak. And then somebody else was been asking in the Discord and stuff where we're pulling projections, where we're whatever. We are both we like stochastic and ETR primarily. We do mix in for baseball. We will definitely look at Bat X and Cardi and some of the Roto Grinders stuff for that as well. One
thing I'm missing here, big time. I totally just, when we're missing this, when we're talking about this whole job, Desmond Bain is questionable for rest, and Steven Adams is questionable for illness. That's 3 moving pieces on the Grizz. So that is that. Now I'm trying to look into this whole Tyus Jones situation.
Damn it. That's third round Jaren Jackson would have been sick.
So I agree now with this whole Tyus. I agree with the last round Tyus. Smart players follow their trends.
What about Zach LaVine, Desmond Bain, Paulo?
Did Bain get ruled in?
I don't,
because they haven't questionable for rest.
Brunson
I guess we don't have the injury report yet. So
Brunson over all of them, fine.
If you want to go by the computers.
Yeah, so we don't have the injury report.
I want your Nez Nugget. I want your Nez Nugget. I don't give a shit about the computers. I want your feel of the hardwood. Is it flat tonight? Is it grainy? What's the paint color we're going with? I need your feel of the landscape.
I feel like this is a Banchero night.
Wow, that's a deep dive. There we go.
I love Banchero, man. He's so cold.
Oh, so Bol is actually cleared health and protocols, expected to rejoin the team Tuesday.
There's just
rejoin or play.
Dang.
Okay. But that's Tuesday. That's tomorrow.
I know.
So he's not going to play tonight.
And Pirtle went through shoot around.
Okay.
We're not going to know the Grizzlies injury report, but now I understand why the boys are picking Tyus, and now I'm all over it.
What do you guys think about little Desmond Bain? I'm pretty sure he got ejected last night. Did he not? Maybe not. Maybe it wasn't him. Someone else in that game got ejected. All right, I'm taking Desmond Bain for all the same reasons you just mentioned, but because I think Jaren Jackson's going to be a second round pick and Desmond Bain's going to be a third round pick.
I just
when
said
it's all said and done.
I think Bain's questionable for rest. It's not on there, but the Grizz don't have an injury report yet. So
Desmond Bain guard rest.
Just speculation. Bain's for rest, and that's why they're pushing up Tyus, which I think is whenever around like what 1 or 2 my time when this injury report drops, a lot of things could shift in these drafts. So
Okay. Good to note there. Good to know. Don't do what I just did and take Desmond Bain in the 4th round right now because he's a genuine Q tag.
Genuine.
I am paying the rake, as the people like to say.
Hey, but when you play, you always, regardless of second or not, you have a lineup just live up there. So yeah, there it is. Yeah. And I go, geez, those sure are some interesting projections you got there. Those look similar. Those look similar. I see Nez creeping up. I'm like, how come I didn't pull the trigger on these?
Sometimes. Only sometimes. Not all the time. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, Nez is a baseball kind of guy.
Saving my
little ADP fall on Drew Holiday. Don't know if that's warranted where he's projecting. I mean, with no Middleton and we got Brunson already, kind of feels nice to take him. Any other names?
I like Drew.
Yeah.
I think that's fun.
He's one of those guys that like he'll never project as well as this site that he could potentially score on this site. You know what I mean?
So like, a couple steals for the man, and next thing
exactly,
you know,
that's what I mean. Yeah. That's kind of what I was alluding to, where it's like, you know, the defensive metrics that are like hard to project, and you just give him like his season average of like stocks, and then all of a sudden he shows out with that 4-steal game. Like he's just picking Desmond's, or he's just picking Jalen Brunson's
steals
pocket all night long.
When you're in the game defensively, I mean, you want hand on the court take. When you're in the game, getting steals, playing defense, you're engaged. That leads to offense. Like it will lead to whatever it's if it production. It leads to like them being confident enough to shoot, them hopefully getting layups, getting the assists there. You know what I mean? Like they're in the game. They're not just standing in the corner you know what I mean? You just the guy just like, oh, look at my guy. He's been out there for 6 minutes. He's literally ran down the court each time, stood in the corner, got the ball past him, brick 2 threes. Like, yeah, you gotta get. So.
I would go ahead and take Tyus here, but we already made a bet on Bain playing in this lineup, which means I kind of just want to buy Markelle Fultz. But good UW boy, and just Fultz, load up.
Because here's the thing:
just load up on some lefty guards who are bad.
Well, watch these last two, because now you'll have your swaps, and if no one takes Tyus or Brooks, you have immediate swap.
I like it. Hey, oh man, T-Bear bringing the narrative. How did we miss on this narrative? Desmond Bain, TCU guy, national championship tonight. Rudman threw out a tweet this morning that I thought was pretty funny. Has there ever been a less hyped national championship game? Like, it's crazy. Like, nobody's talking about this game whatsoever. Yeah.
No.
Talk to me when
it's pretty bad.
They're all just like, talk to me when Bama's in there.
Right, that's the problem, right? Yeah. Like everybody just feels the same way.
I'm pretty pumped. I mean, from what I've seen from Max Duggan, dude's a dog. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I 13 mean, point. It just sucks when the spread's 13.
I guess he's a throw.
Right, exactly. But then there's also like there were so many better matchups available if they just flipped. Like we talked about this, how I said they should have flipped the schedule off the jump. Just give everybody what they want. Michigan versus Ohio State. Let Georgia beat the shit out of TCU in the first game. TCU doesn't go anywhere, and then Georgia plays the winner from the Big Ten. And it's just like, oh my God, it's just so perfect. It all makes sense. But for whatever reason, they didn't want to give us what we wanted with one of the greatest rivalries in college football. They tried to save it for, the national championship. They're like, hey, maybe Michigan and Ohio State will get through and play each other. It's like, well, go fuck yourself, committee. Idiots, I tell you, man.
That's too bad.
Hey, talk to me when some good UW boys are in there. That's all I care about.
Yeah, go Dogs. Hey, when they were in there,
the real Dogs.
They played Alabama, and then they had Jake Browning at quarterback, and he was just the worst player ever. And that was that. If we had Jake Locker in that run, oh my God.
Nez, do you even care? Like, are you?
Oh man.
For Pitt? Or anything like that? Like, do you care about college football? Do you
have
an investment? Okay.
No,
not at all. Actually, where'd you go to school, Nez?
If they're good at school, Slippery Rock University, baby.
Slippery rock. Wow,
That's
you
that's
sly
goated.
dog.
Yeah, that's goaded.
Never
Where's
heard that.
Okay, hold on. Where's this look? I'll do it myself. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
It's
Where'd
it's
you
a
go,
fantastic
Nimi?
school.
Bemidji State University.
Bemidji State. I never heard of any of these guys.
Way up north. It's one of the only college campuses that has right on the lake, like directly on like the campus.
Beautiful.
There. The tradition of after the homecoming game that if you won, the team would run into the lake with their pads on to take their helmets off and do like the run into the lake and all that.
That's
So
pretty
it's like,
cool.
It's just
Did they ever
there.
win?
Yeah. We I'm actually gone, but we're actually apparently. I've been watching on Twitter, but yeah, I don't know if we won, but we were dominating in whatever lower, we're not big. So, but that's where Gunnar Olszewski went for.
Oh, right. There you go. Gunnar.
So,
so many ties. You love to see
Raise
it.
it nose. He's a
nose.
local
there
guy.
You go.
Butler County. Ooh, that's beautiful.
Wait, so this school is in PA, like it's like a Pennsylvania school? Okay.
Yeah, it's like an hour north. It's an hour north of Pennsylvania.
The campus
Pittsburgh.
is beautiful.
Yeah,
it's beautiful place. Beautiful place.
Nice.
I would look up, both of these places for the just if you want to see some nice.
Nobody's
campuses.
gonna ask me where I went to university.
We know.
Where did you go to university, John?
The streets, baby. The streets.
You didn't go.
I went to SFU. It's like a big Canadian school.
Florida State University?
Yeah. No, I'm smarter than that, bud.
I wish I didn't go to. If I didn't go to college, that would have been the most plus EV thing ever. But then it wouldn't have brought me to the Nuggets either. So
right there you go. It all comes full circle, right?
Yeah,
you'll love to see it. Actually, you brought up FSU for a second there. Have you guys ever heard the story of when Deion Sanders showed up for his first ever day on campus? There's like this great story. I'll give like the super short version. He rolls up to like where everybody's doing testing, like the first day or whatever, right? Everybody's been there for an hour. They're running testing and stuff. He shows up like sweatpants, like slides, like this kind of get up, right? Maybe he had shoes on, but like whatever. He shows up with that, and then he's wearing like a chain around his neck and all this shit. They're like giving him shit for being late. The coaching staff is like, whatever. He takes his chains off, hands it to the first guy, cuts the line, gets in the front of the line to run his 40. He doesn't put on shorts, doesn't change anything. Boom, runs the 40, runs like 4.3, 4.4, whatever it was, beats everybody else's time on the board, throws up the deuces over his head and goes, I'll take number 2, and runs straight to the locker room and just that's like his first ever day at Florida State. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what. Yeah, he definitely had slides on.
That is so
it's
cool.
like it's a classic cold ass story about like Neon Deion. I don't
Dude,
know. Yeah,
and if that happens in his program, you're out.
Yeah, right. Yeah. As a coach now, that would never fly.
God, someone tried to like pull that. Maybe if they did it more funny, but yeah.
Blake with the greatest comment ever. John was actually there. Yeah, I was holding his chains.
I was gonna say it.
That was John. Yeah.
God, that's so good. All right. Anyways, this has been good. Hey, look at this. Hey, good local guy talking some UBCO versus SFU. Love to see it.
Hey,
wait, no. Drew Bledsoe was not the greatest UW boy of whatever. Anyways. Appreciate everybody hanging out. We still got 55 here despite doing hoops. So apparently people still like hoops. We love to see
it.
Multi-sport stuff is coming. We are not one-dimensional talent around here. Do us a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe. We hit 500 subs most recently. Shout out to everyone who's a part of the community. Best of luck tonight, gentlemen, and if there happen to be any ladies hanging out in the chat. If Hope's playing tonight, good luck. Shout out to her. There we go. Anything to add, gentlemen? All right. If you're not playing on Underdog,
this is going to be a fun week, man. A lot of drafts.
A lot of stuff to draft. If you're not playing on Underdog Fantasy, what are you doing with your time? Use promo code BADGE for a $100 match deposit, 100% match deposit up to $100. There you go. Nailed it as usual. We will be on later with Pete to talk through some playoff NFL stuff. We will be back tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel with Tuma. And we will talk a little baseball off the hop, and then we'll probably do a little more football after that. Appreciate y'all hanging out. We will be on Pete's channel later today at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Everybody's favorite time of the show. The end. Peace.